Hi, Leather Rokk here. Welcome to my channel. Hey, check out the makeup I got going on today. As a matter of fact, I'll get close to the mirror, the window, so you can see. I used 4 different palettes for this. I'm getting ready for a really exciting, fun, late weekend. And if you want to see how I did the makeup, stay tuned. I'll show you how I did it. I'm ready to get started. And the first thing that I'm going to do on my eyelids is this e.l.f. liner sealer, or rather, yeah, it's a primer on one end and it's a liner sealer on the other. But you're supposed to be able to stick this in any eyeshadow and turn this into an eyeliner, but it's not waterproof, so I don't mess with it. But I'm just gonna put this on my eyelids. I already have foundation on, and I'm using 2 different eyeshadows on my eyebrows to get darker than my hair color look, but this needs to last all day because this is a big weekend for me. And another thing I'm going to do so that I start off still looking good is I'm going to apply a liquid lipstick, and this is one of the better of the Dew lipsticks that I got from wish.com. It's got glitter in it, and it's darker than the other ones that are very similar to it, and it dries fast enough so that you can put your face mask on it, and it doesn't seem to transfer on it. Not too much anyway. Oh, and I'm going to make another observation that has nothing to do with the makeup or anything, but a couple weeks ago I sent away for a free sample of a new Dove antiperspirant spray. And usually I use roll-ons or solids, but I've been using this, and I noticed you wash yourself and you dry your armpits and you put the stuff on, in a half hour you're sweating already. Now, I don't know if that's because when I wear them, antiperspirants the most is when I really don't want to sweat, like when you're getting ready and stuff. It's easy to get all maybe stress sweat or something. It's just really annoying. Something else, another thing which is more along the subject of makeup is, especially in the wintertime with the dry indoor heat, lips can get really dry and cracked and peeling, and these drying liquid lipsticks really do seem to accentuate the texture in the mouth. I really like this color, and so that I can tell it from the other ones, I put glitter nail polish on this cap so that I could see it right away. Since none of these colors have names, they just have numbers. Just as well, at least the number's nice and big, I can read it without needing some kind of correction. Oh, and I certainly don't want to lose this. I actually am packing, because this morning I am going away for a couple of days. And if you hear some noise out there, even though it is 8:47 in the morning, it's a Sunday morning, and it's going to be getting lively around here, I'm afraid. These are the palettes that I'm playing with today. Doesn't mean I'm going to use all 4 of them in this tutorial. I've got this Violet Voss purple palette, and I've got the Orange You Glad palette from ColourPop, and I've got the Strawberry Shake palette from ColourPop, and I've got the Blue Moon palette from ColourPop. Obviously, I have a lot more of their palettes than this, but this is what I am bringing with me where I am going this weekend, and that is what I am going to have available for this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a nice big fluffy brush, a B&H Cosmetics Studio Pro number 6. And I am going to get this almost white looking color. It says Excited. And I am going to get a little bit of that in the inner corner, touching the eyebrow. I'm going to do like a little triangle. And I'm going to repeat that on the other side. It's nice and sunny out today, but it's very cold. The high is only supposed to get to be 40 degrees today, and I don't want to lug around a heavy coat, especially I'm going to be walking on the boardwalk in between casinos and things, and I don't know how windy it is. I think I'm going to be bringing some hairspray so that my hair doesn't, well, it can't stick in my lipstick because I'll be wearing a face mask. Get another brush. I have a bunch more brushes packed, and these are the ones that I'm not bringing, so these might not necessarily be my favorite brushes. I am going to get into the Strawberry Shake palette, and I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Crease Brush. It's got the ergonomic handle on it that you can stick your hand and go like this. And I'm going to get at this bright matte pinky red, and it's called Take a Sip. That middle one here. And I'm just going to get the edge of this. And I'm going to try to do a little bit in the crease here. Just in this outer third. I'm going to do the same thing here. Try to get them symmetrical. I'm going to get into the Sweet Violet palette and find another brush. I guess I'll use a similar brush. I have 3 of these. I think I will use this matte, darker than fuchsia, purple kind of color. And I'm going to go here, carrying on the crease, but inner. And I hear the sound of a cat getting into something he's not supposed to get into. I hear a kitty. And of course, if that's Cassie, she can't hear me. It's funny, Cassie do something bad, I'll yell at her, and of course she can't hear. TabbyBoy can hear. I noticed if I'm in the kitchen noting some mischief that Cassie's getting into, if I raise my voice, TabbyBoy, if he's in another room, he'll run to take a look to find out what's going on. So cats who are used to being in families, are used to really interacting, they're much more intelligent than people realize. Here is BH Cosmetics Studio Pro. No, this is a vegan brush. I think it's a number 9. And what color am I going to get? Oh, I'm going to get back into the Sweet Violet palette. And I'm going to get this gold color here. It's like a coppery color. And I'm going to load this brush. Real nice. I think my eyes need some sparkle now. I'm going to put this right on the lid. A little bit more. I try to be careful not to get too many crumblies on my face. I really hate when it smudges underneath and then you have to go and use a brush and then a wet washcloth and then reapply the foundation. I try to do my foundation a little bit lighter today so that it wouldn't get in the wrinkles and so it wouldn't come off across the mask so much. Sometimes when I go out for a couple of days hanging out in casinos and things, a friend of mine gets a room and I'm away for a while. Sometimes I don't even bother with the foundation because of the way it smudges on the face masks. I spend so much time putting on and taking off face masks because you have to wear them when you're indoors in places. And plus I feel safer doing this anyway. I still get kind of nervous going out in public places with this pandemic, but I do want to get on with my life, as we all do, and I still want to make sure that I'm being responsible. You know what? This calls for a darker, bluer kind of purple. So I'm going to get another one of these Wet n Wild brushes, and I'm going to use this darker metallic purple here. I'm doing this totally freehand. I didn't diagram this look ahead of time. When I diagram looks, then I would have my big YouTube notebook open and I'd be consulting my diagram, and there is no diagram to consult. Oh, and here's TabbyBoy. I hear my TabbyBoy. I do. And in a minute, I'm going to show my friends in YouTube land my TabbyBoy. Oh, and you hear that he's clawing the sign out of the window so that he can get his sun. I guess I'm going to have to make sure that the windows are free so that my cats can do whatever it is they do when we go away. And do we ever know what the cats do when they go away? I will show you TabbyBoy. Hold on. I keep my promises. Here's my sweet TabbyBoy. And one thing, when I leave, if I do not fuss over him and cuddle him and kiss him and hold him, I've been told he cries. He cries like a baby pining for me because I'm away. I might be gone only 15 minutes. I might be just mailing a letter or something. But I thought he cried. Oh, he cried. Oh, and I am not going to be back until Tuesday morning. So you're going to have to understand, but I will be back. My brother's here, my mother's here, and Cassie's here. You will be fine. Alright, now I'm going to wash my hands. I've got a makeup tutorial to resume doing. Say bye-bye. Before I wash my hands, I wanted to show you. This is TabbyBoy's baby. TabbyBoy, sometimes you'll hear him crying random times, and he'll have a muffled sound crying because he has something in his mouth. He will be crying and he'll be carrying this in his mouth and he'll walk around with it and then he'll randomly drop it. And we don't know whether TabbyBoy is kind of like some high profile figures that might have dementia. And cats can get Alzheimer's and dementia like humans do. And I wonder if maybe he doesn't want to be a father or doesn't have some kind of issues. Yeah, cats can have psychological problems too. Okay, I gotta wash my hands now. Maybe I'll bring back Cassie. Here's Cassie. Okay, now I have to wash my hands. And don't you knock my computer off these two boxes. If my computer breaks, I'll be very upset because I don't have a new one. Okay, be good. My hands are washed now. I'm going to carry on some of this purple underneath my lower lash line. And rather than dirty another brush, I'm going to use the same brush I used, and I'm going to flatten like this. And get a nice coat like this, and starting at the outer corner. When you do this, you have to be careful with the sweeping to minimize getting the fallout underneath. And this is also why when you're putting your whatever primer or whatever coat you put on your lids to make your eyeshadow stay, it's a good idea to carry it to your lower lash line also, so that when you do this, the color will stay. Otherwise, there's a good chance that it will not stay put, especially if you're not wearing a moist foundation, or if you're wearing a long wear foundation. And long wear foundations don't rub off on face masks as much as moist foundations do. Oh, well, I hope I didn't just smear underneath my... I also have some cat hairs in my eyes, and that was my own fault. I should know by now that when you handle cats, you're going to get... Now I'm going to get a wet washcloth and wipe under the eye. Okay, this is more than a little moist. I hope I'm not going to do a bunch of smearing. It's now the time. I really have to watch the time. I would like to be able to take another cup of coffee before I have to get out of here. And right now it is 9:04 a.m. I'm expecting that I need to be ready before 10 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to get some eyeliner and some mascara next. These are the choices that I'm giving myself today. I've got this blue Sephora waterproof eyeliner that really doesn't seem to be waterproof on me. This is a gel pot eyeliner. These are really good. These are truly waterproof. If you like an eyeliner that is really waterproof, this is by ColourPop, and it's gel pot eyeliner. I got them in what most people think of as unusual colors, because why not? But in this mascara here, this is the Too Faced Better Than Sex, but not the waterproof version. This here is a waterproof mascara. This is by She Does Paris. But then if you look at the company, it says Zoo Dye Cosmetics Company. So She Does, I think this is to make people think of Shiseido. But I am going to open up the ColourPop pot eyeliner, and for my brush, I'm going to use B&H Cosmetics Studio Pro number 7. Really great eyeliner brush. Nice and firm. And that's what you want when you have a brush that is going to dip into a gel pot liner. You just need to tap it. Just tap a little bit. And it's good to wipe the edge. I want to try to go for as narrow a line as possible. And I'm actually going to start here. It's actually a little on the subtle side, I think. I don't usually try to look subtle, but I'm going to go again. Time for the mascara. Oh, and there's that brush I'm going to have to wash. That's okay. I have plenty of brushes packed. This I believe really was waterproof. That other mascara that I had been using is finally starting to dry up. And dried up mascaras obviously don't give as much coverage. And I would like maybe a little bit more drama than for every day, since I'm going to be out amongst other human beings. I'm really looking forward to this. This pandemic is no good for people's mental health. It really isn't. And I know that states are starting to open up. Texas is opening up. I forget what other states are opening up. The Centers for Disease Control thinks that it's too early. I'm torn on the subject because I know how devastated our economy is, and I know that Americans want to get back to work and people want to get back to living their lives. And since the vaccines are being rolled out and more people are getting the shots, I understand that you have to strike a balance between the economy and people's health. And also, everybody has different tolerations for risk. And the youngest and healthiest of people might not be in as much danger with this virus as the older people or the people with comorbidities. And there's lots of people out there who really don't know their health status because they don't have a primary care physician. And for those people, and frankly, I fall into that category, we don't know. You hope that you're healthy, but when you don't have access to yearly checkups and things, you know, glad to have a dentist at this point. This one observation I'm going to make with this mascara, you know how mascaras always have an inner band that scrapes the excess mascara off so that the brush isn't all clumpy full of mascara? Some of these containers take so much of the mascara off that you really don't get a big load on the lashes. And that's something I'm noticing with this. And sure, you can go and do the wiggle thing, but then sometimes you end up getting too much mascara at the base of the lashes, and that's what leads to the clumping, and not in an attractive way. I mean, some spidering can look good. I always liked Tammy Faye Baker. I hated when people would make fun of her for her makeup. I thought that was really cruel. And that's a lady that I would have liked to have met. She really seemed to love other human beings. And when most Christian churches were turning a blind eye to the AIDS crisis and rejecting LGBT people and not having basic compassion for suffering people and people with illnesses, she was not afraid to hug people, and she didn't treat people like they didn't matter. And I think she has at least one book out, which I haven't got to read. I really like to read biographies and autobiographies of people. You can learn so much about the human spirit's ability to persevere. And of course, they can also be cautionary tales as well. I remember reading the John Belushi book Wired when I was in Hollywood. And part of the reason why I was reading is because I wanted to try to keep myself out of danger with respect to partying and things. And I figured if I read cautionary tales like that, it will give me just a baseline for if I even ever think I'm remotely acting like this, then I should seek help or something. But you know what? He and I did not have a whole lot in common with respect to substances, because I didn't do most of the things that he did, and I certainly didn't do them the way he did them. He was using needles and mixing cocaine with heroin and all kinds of stuff, and that was out of control, even compared to a lot of the behavior that I saw around me in the rock and roll scene and amongst the punk rockers and all that stuff. I saw a lot of things, but I didn't see the most reckless behavior that was going on. Partly due to the fact that people who have certain proclivities to do substances and everything tend to hang out with other people who do the same things. And oftentimes there's a little bit of an attitude of disdain toward the things that you don't do, but that you see other people doing. Like the drunk punks thought a little skeptical of the people using harder drugs, and meanwhile, I'm sure the speed aficionados thought less of the heroin people. There's a hierarchy, and I even wrote a poem about this, which I have done at poetry slams. I haven't been to a poetry reading in a long time, and I wouldn't want to accidentally get inspired by somebody else's art. I have so much art and musical ideas and literary ideas, and I have for a number of years, and I really want to focus on getting my art out into the world. And YouTube can be a really great vehicle for some of that, if you don't get kicked off of YouTube for saying forbidden speech. And one thing about makeup tutorials, I know that makeup tutorials are not all my viewers' favorite art form, but it's something that's innocuous and will keep me from running afoul of the thought police and the big tech, left-leaning censorship brigade. This is just makeup, and I don't think anybody can be offended by that. It would be really nice to have a few hours to not offend anybody. I seem to be doing a real good job of pissing people off. But you know what? I think that means I must be doing something right. And I think I'm smearing. But you know what? I'm going to let this dry before I fix it. Because sometimes letting it dry before you fix it, it doesn't smudge as much. But, this is not giving very much coverage on my lap. I mean, it's covering them, but you see, there's no thickness to them. Okay. It is a good idea not to blink your lashes till they dry. And I don't use an eyelash curler. I haven't, since my teens. The first couple of times I tried it, it pinched the skin, and I couldn't be bothered. So it's supposed to be a thing you're supposed to do, but you know what? I can't be bothered. Okay. Should I do a cheek color or not? I almost don't want to because of the face mask thing. But you know what? A little bit won't hurt. And what I'm going to do is, instead of going and getting an extra cheek thing and having something else to pack and be heavier, since I'm bringing the suitcase and it's getting a little already, I'm going to dip into the Strawberry Shake palette, and I'm using a big fluffy brush. I think this is an IT Cosmetics brush that I actually ground scored on a dance floor in Bally's Wild West Casino. We used to have dance clubs. You used to be able to go dancing. And I found this big old brush, and I wrapped it in toilet paper and put it in my purse. And when I got home, I washed it in hot water with antibacterial soap because I don't want gungy bungee. And so I'm just going to touch this. Which one? I'm going to touch this to this frosty pinky color here, and it's called Whipped. And I'm going to touch a little bit to here, and you see that already picked up a lot of color. Now, since this is an eyeshadow, and eyeshadows are much more opaque than the cheek color, I don't want to overdo this. So I'm just going to hit this here, okay? Then I'm going to touch again, and I'm going to Ooh, I see that came off more on that side, so I gotta. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go into the bathroom to clean up underneath the eyes. I'll be back. Alright, I just realized I made a big mistake this morning. It is 9:23 a.m. and I realized I forgot to put my SPF on. That is the stupidest thing that I've done in a while. I'm going to use this Neutrogena Hydro Burst 30. No, you know what? Because I might be out in the sun a bit, I'm going to use the Max Blocks 50. And I have to do this very, very carefully. I'm going to, well, not squirt myself in the face, hopefully. Okay, I am going to, this is something that you can do in an emergency. You really, they do have powder sunscreens, but they are quite expensive and I have not indulged them. Now, I'm patting this sunblock on my face. I want to be careful not to get it into this necktie. This is, by the way, the necktie is by Salvador Ferragamo, if anybody's curious. And this, I don't think this is one of my father's neckties. I really like men's ties, and I have acquired some through the years at different places. Sometimes I've actually found neckties that were discarded and tied onto the railing on the Atlantic City boardwalk. And I'm sure that there was an interesting story behind that. But soap and hot water clean everything up. Now you see, if you pat the way I'm doing, you might be able to not disturb your makeup. And of course, now, I don't know how this trick will work with people with darker skin. Then again, if you're using one of those no white cast sunblocks, maybe you can do this. It depends on the formulation of the foundation makeup you're wearing, and I'm sure on the formulation of your SPF. But I'm glad I realized I hadn't put it on. I mean, that is so irresponsible. The sun is the biggest ager out there, and just because it's winter time doesn't mean that you can get away with forgetting about it. I don't want to smear my eyebrows. Now I'm going to take a look in a mirror and see how this looks. I'm glad I caught that. That is really, and even if I'm not directly outside, if I'm near a window, and those restaurants a lot of times have beautiful views of the boardwalk and the ocean and stuff, and the sun's coming right through. Okay, one of the things that I was going to do before I realized that I forgot my foundation is I was going to show you a trick that I use sometimes to clean up smudges without using a makeup remover or soap or anything. This is just a dollar store moisturizing cream. Normally I don't use things like that because it has mineral oil in it, and I really don't like mineral oil. I would much rather, if I'm going to have oils in products, I would much rather them be things like olive oil or natural things. Not something from dead dinosaurs. I think we need them for things like transportation and fuel and stuff. But you see what I'm doing where the smudges are? I'm touching just to move that. I'm going to have to replace the foundation, but I really want to use just a little bit, because really if you use foundation too heavy, it just gets in the wrinkles and it's really annoying. And that's why so many people use those beauty blenders, but I hate them because they soak up so much of the foundation and you're wasting product. And if you're buying this war paint, you know, the cost adds up. So it seems to me that anything you can do to make better use of your money. I'm going to touch very carefully, just a little bit. A little bit's all you need, just to coverage. Packed in my bag, I do have a concealer, but I just don't want to unpack those things and then repack. I'm going to have to put these makeup palettes back in there, but I'm also going to make sure that it's even here. Okay, and a little bit more coverage here to make up for whatever the sunblock may have done. Boy, that is the first time I ever put makeup on and forgot about the sunblock. That is so not like me. And I mean, I didn't smoke anything this morning or anything. There's no reason for me to be having any senior moments. Oh, speaking of senior moments, my mother tried to call the New Jersey. We have different ways that you can try to register to get the vaccine, and she finally got through after being on hold for like 20 minutes. And she finally got a human being, but when they found out that she's old enough, she just turned 80, but when they found out that she was in Atlantic City, they said that the vaccine is not here yet. So, if any of the people that are watching me are senior citizens and you're in my town, the vaccine isn't here, but my mother tried. And the thing is, it's harder for a lot of senior citizens to register for this because so many of them don't have email accounts, and being put on hold and waiting, that kind of sucks. Alright, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to remember to bring some hairspray with me so that when I finally take my hair down, it kind of has more of its shape. I'm going to add a little bit more of that blush to make up for what... Oh no, wrong palette. Just repeat what I did before. And you know what? I can add some highlighter too. And for the highlight, I'm just going to... those are too dark. I am going to use this pale color in the Blue Moon palette. And the one that has the most pan in this color is called Lumi, L-U-M-I. It's the one that looks white. And I'm going to use my middle finger here, and I'm going to do it on the side. And that way you'll get some little bit of color will peek through over the mask. Even though I'm mostly probably going to be wearing like KN95s and N95s. I'm bringing a lot of face masks for my little weekend. They're not optional, and they can even be seen as fashionable in addition to the protection. And if you look at it as fashion, I think maybe people can have less negative attitudes toward the whole masking thing. And why people would have a bad attitude about trying to protect themselves and each other, I don't understand. Really, when you think of this is such a minor blip of inconveniences in the grand scheme of things, and why people don't want to protect themselves, I will never understand it. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my content, I'd love to have you subscribe. I'd like to take you along with me on my adventures. Till then, have a great day. Bye.